Yo, so guys, welcome back to another video. This is another reaction to US states, and it's been a long time since I've done one of these sort of videos, especially from The World According to Briggs. I don't know, I'm not subscribed to him. I feel like I've watched so many of his videos. I thought I was, but yeah, the video is the top 10 most hated states in the US, and I mean, I know this isn't a certified video, it's just opinions. It's probably just his opinion, not even based off statistics. I don't really know, but one state I know will be on here is California, and that's just because from the comments in previous videos that I used to do, or in like videos that I've watched that have like mentioned about like California, or like because of like the prices and people moving away from California, raising the prices of other places. I don't know, I just used to see like remarks to certain people from California, I guess. I don't know, I know California will be here. And this isn't my opinion, by the way, this is just sort of what I'm going to guess is here. Maybe just sort of the bigger states, or like the sort of the states with, I don't know, like the more I don't know, I don't really know. Maybe just the states with the higher population, because there's just more people there doing crazy stuff. Like Florida, for example, because there's so many people who live there, there's just crazy stuff that goes on there. I don't know though, we're gonna see. But my guess going into this will be the states that have higher populations, but we're gonna see. But hopefully you're going to enjoy. Please don't take this to heart. I know this is just a bit of fun to see. And I mean, if your state's on here, please tell me why it shouldn't be on here, and maybe just sort of explain whatever he says about your state, how it's wrong, etc. But I'm coming into this with an open mind. I'm not going to take any of this to heart and take it too seriously, but we're going to get into this. Quick shout out to my Instagram, my Twitter, links in the description for those interested. Same for my Patreon, links all there for those interested. And I mean, yeah, let's just get into it.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to The World According to Briggs. I have a question for you. What state do you hate the most? A recent survey asked that same question.
What state do I hate the most? I mean, I don't have a reason to hate any state, to be honest. I can't say Florida. Florida, I love Florida. I was going to say Florida because the football team in Tampa Bay, I just hate their owners, and that's my reason to hate Florida. But I love Florida. I love the craziness that goes on there, so I can't even say that. But I mean, I don't have a state that I hate. Let me know what state you hate the most. Maybe it's to do with a sport rivalry or just something like that. Let me know.
And they actually used the word hate. The study was very interesting. They also looked at what percentage of the residents of each state hate their own state. So not just outsiders are given information. They asked the people that are actually living it. I dug a little deeper and found what most people list as the reason they want to leave their state. This whole thing had me really interested yesterday, so I put the question up on this channel. I asked people, what state do you dislike the most? The answers were all over the board, but the clear winner was California. They actually won by a landslide. Oddly, the survey and the research that I read, they don't have California at number one, but they are.
But like, why? Is it just the California sort of energy that people have? Is it the prices? Is it like the climate? Like, maybe is it too hot for some people? But the climate's like perfect, isn't it? I mean, just explain to me, please. I guess I do sort of understand, like, there's that sort of typical sort of LA influencer type thing, and I know LA isn't just California, but there's a lot of LA, like the Paul brothers, for example. They're just an example. You got like Bryce Hall, you got all these influencers who think they're the shit, and then you got these influencers who sort of try to copy them. They've got like 100 followers on like Instagram, and they think they're the shit. And that's the type of thing that I sort of think about when I think about like sort of pure sort of, I say LA, sort of like the influencer side of it. It's just like, fuck off, man. Just fuck off.
On the list. That part did surprise me. I thought for sure they'd be the number one most hated state. Now, the way that these were ranked, people answering the survey were asked to list their 3 most hated states, and whichever one got the most votes, that went to number 1. You get the idea. All right, let's see which are the most hated states. Number 10, Kentucky. The bluegrass state is always...
How can you hate Kentucky, bro? They made Kentucky Fried Chicken. That should be number 1, bro. That shit's making me like... I'm still eating that today, man. I love me some KFC.
He's in the top 5 states for poverty. It's been that way since it became a state, pretty much. Their poverty rate is normally in the 16 to 20% range, and this angers a lot of the locals because they're tired of being broke. That's actually one of the number 1 reasons they listed as why they hate their state. Poverty, politics came in second, and employment. Tell you what, the one thing I like about Kentucky... Yeah, actually, I got nothing. Anyway, in 2019, their population decreased by 0.12%, and the percentage of the residents who say it's the worst state and they hate it, 6%.
Jeez.
Number 9, Connecticut. I have to admit, I'm surprised Connecticut made this list. I mean, it's got its problems like all states. They've got their cities kind of below, well, most of them, with serious crime and unemployment problems, but a lot of that state's really nice. Whenever we're doing a negative video and a New England state is brought up, it's always Connecticut. Oddly enough, there's a second New England state on this list. The population decrease in 2019 was 0.21%, and the percentage of residents who say it's the worst state and they hate it is 8%. The reasons most often given why they hate the state and they want to move out: employment, weather, crime, and the people. Number 8, Michigan. The Wolverine state has had a buttload of problems over the years.
So when I think of Michigan, I'm obviously thinking of Detroit, but I guess there's other places other than Detroit that are sort of struggling as well,
Especially
right?
in Flint and Detroit. They got some other...
Oh yeah, Flint, the water disaster. I still need to look into that. I've been, like, a friend that I made through YouTube just, like, told me about it quite a few months back, and it blew my mind how, like, insane it actually was. And it's the reason why I don't drink tap water anymore. I do, but I have to filter it. But, like, but that Flint water disaster is nuts, and apparently they're still dealing with it to this day. But I need to find a video on YouTube. I said it ages ago and I forgot about it. I need to find a video on YouTube that sort of explains it to me, so I can learn about, like, how crazy it actually was. I forgot Flint was in Michigan as well, man. God
places
damn.
that aren't great, but Detroit is always the winner when it comes to not great places to live. Look at the satellite view of the place. It honestly looks like a major city has farmland around it because they've had to knock down so many abandoned homes in that city. Michigan's population in 2019 decreased by 0.09%. The percentage of residents who say it's the worst state, 10%. The main reasons: employment, lack of opportunity, and weather. That's why they're leaving Michigan. Number 7, Massachusetts. The second New England state and old stomping ground of Mr. Paul Revere is Massachusetts. Again, I was kind of surprised they were on this list at all. I was also surprised to learn that Paul Revere lived to the age of 83. I just assumed he died during the Revolution. I don't know why. On that survey, 4 other states had Massachusetts listed as the #1 worst state in their opinion. That was on average, obviously. The population decrease in 2019 was 0.14%. The percentage of residents who say it is the worst state is 11%. 11% of the people can't stand their own state in Massachusetts. I'm surprised at that one. Anyway, the reasons listed when moving or why they hated the place was weather, cost of living, and traffic, which obviously the traffic thing is because of the Boston metro area. That is some of the worst traffic in the nation.
Fair
Number
point.
6, California.
6? I mean, that's wild. I guess. I mean, I was expecting it to be number 1, especially after he sort of said the most voted one was California in his sort of little comment section on his community post. So number 6. I mean, we're going to see why. I'm interested to see the reasoning as well. Price, maybe, again, the influencer thing. I don't know. We're going to see.
Again, surprised. Not that they're on the list, that they're ranked in the middle. They should be number 1 or 2, you'd think. 9 states had California as the #1 most hated state in the Union. The Golden State isn't what it used to be, and it's showing no sign of making a fast turnaround either. They're trying to recall the governor right now,
I guess.
which I think they try and do every single year, but this one looks like it's got some traction. Out of all 50 states surveyed, 9 of them had California selected as the absolute worst most often. 2019, their population decreased by 0.11%, and the percentage of the residents who say it's the worst state, 13%. I don't think it's the worst state. I'm an ex-Californian. I think it's pretty close. It didn't used to be. It is now. Reasons most often listed of why they hate the state: cost of living, housing costs, traffic, air quality, and crime. They got a lot of them. Number 5, West Virginia. This one isn't a surprise, but it is a shame. Think about the good West Virginia has to offer. Great down-to-earth people, amazing scenery, tons of interesting history, and WTSQ, a community radio station in Charleston. These are all good things. The bad things are they don't have jobs, epidemic-level poverty, opioid problems, and a governor who likes to drop F-bombs during televised speeches. Not kidding, look it up. His name's Jim Justice. More and more West Virginians are moving to Ohio and Virginia in search of jobs and basically a better life that West Virginia can't give them. West Virginia, though, is one of those places that's just so beautiful, I'm sure it's hard for anyone to have to leave. It's too bad. Only 2 other states have West Virginia as the most hated.
Bro, look at this picture, man. This is just like a little town. Oh my god. That is beautiful, bro. I swear.
State. So that's not bad. But the population decreased 0.76% in 2019, but the percentage of West Virginia residents who say it's the worst state is 15%. Number 4, New York. The Empire State
There's a lot of New England territories like in this list. I wasn't expecting it. I'm not gonna lie.
comes in at number 4, which isn't a real shocker. There's not a lot of good things going on in New York State. I'd say the last 5 to maybe 10 years. For the first time in its history, New York City has just seen a flood of people leaving. It just got too expensive and people couldn't do it anymore. Most of the stats from New York City really affect all of New York State because it's so populated. It would look like a much more attractive state if you could just separate the two and say, okay, New York City is its own thing. Here's what the rest of New York is all about. It's a really nice state if you could take that out of it. It'd probably be a lot better if you can get rid of Buffalo too. There is one surprise here. Only one state considers New York State the worst state. Through the entire state, the population decreased 0.45% in 2019. New York City saw a bigger drop than that, but the entire state saw 0.45%. The percentage of New York residents who say it's the worst state is 17%. When surveyed, most New Yorkers leaving New York list cost of living, weather, and being overpopulated. Obviously, the overpopulated people are coming from New York City. The rest of the state's not terribly bad. Number 3, New Jersey. The Garden State, as it's called, which...
Bro, all these states are like clumped together. Is this area as a whole just in a mess?
I also think that's false advertising.
Or are people just like hating where they live? Like, I guess... Oh, like, what? I was not expecting New Jersey here at all either.
The Garden State comes in at number 3. New Jersey has an extremely high cost of living, high taxes, housing prices aren't cheap, weather sucks, and the people are rude. I did see
high taxes is enough for it to be number 3, to be fair. I rest my case.
This one thing, and I mentioned this in a past video. I watched this whole thing on communication. It's a study they did. And the reason people from New Jersey are considered rude, they're not being rude most of the time. You know, yeah, they have their moments, but it's just the way they talk. They talk to you closer than other areas of the country do. Usually there's a little bit of a space between you. They like to get right up in front of you, and just their demeanor, most parts of the country consider it rude, or they're being obnoxious. Obviously, that's a generalization. It's not everyone. There's some wonderful people there, but you know what I'm saying. A lot of states have New Jersey listed as the worst state in the union. 6 states to be exact. New Jersey population decreased by 0.30% in 2019. The percentage of New Jersey residents who say it's the worst state and they hate the place, 17%. Number 2, Mississippi. Ah, yes, our old reliable suckage state, the Magnolia State, Mississippi. You can always count on Mississippi to be the bottom of the barrel when it comes to statistics, or at least very close to the bottom of the barrel, like they are in this situation. When I first started doing these videos and I made some comments about Mississippi, and I started getting the hate comments from people in Mississippi, I was surprised. This was 3 years ago, and I didn't know Mississippi had internet yet. Mississippi is weird from a statistics standpoint. It is extremely inexpensive. Housing costs are extremely low. They have jobs, not the best paying jobs, but with prices as low as they are, you really don't need to be killing it in the salary department to live comfortably in Mississippi. All that, and people still don't want to live in the Magnolia State. When people leaving the state were surveyed, they said the main reasons are poverty, unemployment, weather, and Briggs keeps making fun of us. In 2019, the population decreased by 0.21%, and the percentage of Mississippi residents who think their state is the worst state and they hate it, 19%.
Wow.
Before we get to number 1, don't forget we have another channel called On This Day. There's a link down below. Head on over, check out a video, subscribe if you'd like, subscribe to this channel if you'd like as well.
Quite interesting little video.
All right, on to number 1.
Channel idea.
And number 1. Illinois. That's right, the Hoosier State comes in at number 1. A lot of these problems come from Chicago. And as you're typing out that message, I know it's not the Hoosier State.
Illinois? What? Okay. What's going to be the reasoning for this?
That's actually Indiana. Illinois is actually land of Lincoln, or the Prairie State. Besides Chicago, they got a lot of open land, a lot of farmland, and it's a nice state outside of Chicago. I still love Chicago, mostly for the pizza, so that tells you something about me. I think a lot of the hate towards Illinois comes from all the issues that Chicago has. I mean, the rest of the state's pretty decent for the most part. It's just Chicago has such a bad reputation, it kind of ruins things for the whole state. But only 3 states list Illinois as their most hated state. Their population decreased by 0.54% in 2019. The percentage of residents in Illinois that think their own state is the worst state is 25.
25, bro, a quarter of the people who live in the state hate it, pretty much. I mean, God damn.
All those votes must have come from Chicago too. But Chicago is one of the fastest shrinking cities we have in the nation right now. People are flooding out of there. And when they do leave, they list crime, weather, lack of opportunity as the reasons they leave Illinois.
Wow. I mean, there we go. It was a very interesting one. There's a lot of states I wouldn't have expected here. I mean, I don't know which states I would have expected. Just California was definitely one because I know how many comments I've seen on this channel, etc. But yeah, interesting one for sure. And I mean, let's just see some of the comments. Okay, you've done most hated states. Now let's have most loved states. Thanks for all you do. I'd be interested in that one as well for sure. 828. The main reason people are leaving Mississippi are poverty, unemployment, weather, and Briggs keeps making fun of us. As the video shows, never underestimate the amount of hatred the rest of Illinois has for Chicago. Illinois, I stopped typing. Lol, Briggs, video recorded, exclude time. I had a feeling that New Jersey would be on this list. It seems everyone talks badly about it. Briggs, your state sucks. Also, Briggs, be nice to each other. I'm a non-Chicago Illinoisan and left the state this year. Didn't make sense paying big city taxes but living in a small town. I mean, if that's the case, that's crazy. I can understand that kind of reasoning to move away from it for sure. Didn't vote because I'm in Canada, but I like watching and learn about other places. Plus, I like Americans. Surprised Indiana didn't make the list. That's all you ever hear about is people wanting to leave because of the weather and boredom. Damn. I mean, I'm just seeing a lot of negative comments right now, but I guess that's just sort of the topic of the video, right? But hopefully you enjoyed this one. If your state was on here, tell me why you love your state. Tell me why your state shouldn't be here, or maybe you agree with your state being here. I don't know, but yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this one. Until next time, like, subscribe, peace.